Again.
Like most rules in football, it's hard to draw a clear line as to what actions lead to a ban and what warrants a mere slap on the wrist. For a sport that still struggles to implement some of its oldest rules, it's no surprise. Few people predicted Pogba's massive drop-off since leaving Old Trafford, but no one could have predicted his next move. After failing to rise to his previous World Cup winning levels at Juventus, the French star looked elsewhere for a boost in performance. His actions quickly caught up with him when in August 2023, after a Serie A game against Udinese, the Frenchman tested positive for testosterone. Yes, testosterone is a naturally occurring hormone. This hormone is responsible for the bulkier muscle mass and body hair in men. However, it improved sports performance, especially muscular power, and warranted Pogba a 4-year ban. The footballer has denied all allegations of intentional doping, and if he can prove that it wasn't, he only stands to get his current sentence reduced by 2 years. What do you think is going to happen to Pogba? Let us know in the comments. Here's one name you may not have expected to see on this list: the Great Wall of Ferdinand. So, how did the Red Devils legend get his name on this list of bad boys? In September 2003, all Manchester United players were expected to be on the ground for a routine drug test that was to be conducted by the Football Association. But guess who didn't show up? It doesn't take much to guess why Rio didn't show up, and he was adequately punished. He had to pay a £50,000 fine and was handed an 8-month ban. Ferdinand was only 25 at the time, and after his forced break, he returned to Old Trafford where he excelled. Okay, now here's a fun one. At the end of September 2003, London Giants Chelsea had to release their goalkeeper Mark Bosnich after he failed a routine drug test. Here's the big reveal: the drug in question was cocaine, and the keeper received only a 9-month ban. In what world does testosterone warrant a 4-year ban and cocaine less than 1? It's hard to make a case for Bosnich as he was also found guilty of misconduct. But hey, it is what it is, you know? We have some even more questionable bans to cover, so don't look away or you might miss them. It's one thing to face a ban once in your career, but twice? That's pushing some dangerous limits, and footballers don't come more dangerous than the Argentine legend himself, Diego Maradona. Maradona was popular for his consistent defiance, superb football skills, and cocaine addiction. The Argentine master couldn't resist the drug's appeal, and his dangerous love affair earned him 2 separate 15-month bans in his career. That's a lot of time to spend off the pitch, but again, it's not 4 years. His first ban was in 1991, and the second came only 3 years later. His time away from the field wasn't enough to dull his shine though, as Maradona continued to outclass his opponents until his retirement in 1997. Don't be fooled by his looks. Joey Barton is a regular bad boy borderline criminal. The midfielder's done time for assault, and there have been reports of him being violent towards his teammates, opponents, or any strangers that dared cross his path. You could say it was a bit of a relief for his teammates when the Bardman received an 18-month ban in 2017. However, it wasn't for doping. He's too cynical for that. Joey was banned from betting. The Englishman placed a jaw-dropping 1,260 bets in 10 years, between 2006 to 2016. This Czech defender blew any chance he had at international glory when he tested positive for doping. David Bystrom, who played for Victoria Pilsen and helped the club claim their domestic league trophy, was banned for 2 years after testing positive for methamphetamine. Surprisingly, the defender, who was 30 at the time, didn't even appeal, as he sat out a pretty miserable 2 years for both his club and country. After returning from his ban, things never turned around for David. After facing the likes of Messi and Barcelona in the Champions League, he had to settle for amateur teams before calling it quits in 2017. Juanito was a great player with quick feet but a quicker temper. He'd dribble an entire team and score an amazing goal or two, but at the slightest provocation he'd go berserk on the pitch. His first major antic came in 1978 when Los Blancos faced Grasshoppers in the European Cup. The game was going normally until Juanito decided to attack the game's referee and linesman for a controversial call. His actions were met with a heavy 2-year ban, but this was the least of it. A return from his initial ban saw him continue his incredible performances until the 1987 game against Bayern Munich. Bayern were hosting Real Madrid in a heated European semi-final, and the stakes were high. Lothar Matthäus made a bad tackle that earned him a shove from a Madrid player. Juanito rushed onto the scene, and what he did next stunned everyone. He stood on Matthäus' chest, and if that wasn't enough, he gave him a good kick in the face with his studs. This burst of rage earned Juanito a £5,000 fine and a 5-year ban to go with it. The ban forced Real Madrid to release him, and he unfortunately died in a car crash in 1992. It didn't take long for Sandro Tonali to seal his starting spot at Newcastle, but it also didn't take long for the FA to catch the Magpies' summer signing breaking the rules. Newcastle signed the Italian for a whopping £55 million in July, but he was quickly dismissed from selection with a 3-year ban from football activities after investigations revealed he breached FA rules for betting. Tonali admitted to betting in favour of his former club Milan on multiple occasions. Tonali got his sentence reduced from 3 years to only 10 months. Regardless, he's still gonna miss all of Newcastle's remaining games, and he can kiss any hopes of Euro 2024 glory goodbye. If you watch Football League 2, you'd probably know Sutton United, and if you know Sutton United, then chances are you know this guy. You see, Wayne does this thing where he eats a pie on the bench to banter the opponent, but things took a bitter turn when he ate a pie against Arsenal. Both teams faced off in the 5th round of the FA Cup, and before that game, a bookmaker took bets on whether Shaw would be televised eating a pie, and by God he was. Glorious as it was, Shaw was charged with breaching FA betting rules for knowingly influencing a football betting market. He denied the charge, but was eventually fined £375 and banned for only 8 weeks. Sutton United weren't so lenient, as they asked the pie-eating keeper to resign, and he did. Don't worry, he's doing okay as the commercial manager for AFC Tottenham. Gambling can be as addictive as any drug out there, so it's no surprise to see some of the world's finest footballers falling for its seductive claws, including Andros Townsend. The England international was found guilty of violating betting regulations and was fined £18,000 and banned for 4 months for being the wiser. However, after getting caught, Townsend became a saint. No, he didn't join Southampton. Instead, he turned on a new leaf. First, he withdrew from England's squad for the under-21 Euros in 2013. Then he went on a course to treat his gambling addiction. His performance pleased the FA, who reduced his 4-month ban to just 1. Townsend came back stronger, and he's still playing in the Premier League as a winger for newly promoted side Luton Town. If you've seen a Nottingham Forest game recently, then you must know their left-back Harry Toffolo. A regular starter, the 28-year-old was handed a 5-month ban for breaching rules while on loan at Swindon, Rotherham, Peterborough and Scunthorpe. Quite the traveller, eh, Harry? The left-back saw his sentence suspended after coming clean and admitting to the charges. He only paid £21,000 to get off the hook, and right now he's slugging it out with Nuno Espirito Santos as they struggle to avoid the relegation zone. How did Daniel Sturridge get on this list? Well, you may not know, but Sturridge received a 4-month ban in 2020 for breaching the betting rules. The former Liverpool player admitted to providing his brother with sensitive information about a potential transfer to Sevilla in January 2018. Weird that he gets 4 months for not even betting. How do you keep that sort of thing from your brother? Worse, he didn't eventually make the intended move, making the bet a dud. If that wasn't enough, his team Trabzonspor terminated his contract when details of his ban came to light. Okay, so spoiler alert, Demichelis was never really banned and was only fined. So, what happened? Like some others before him, the Argentine defender was guilty of betting on football matches. The former Manchester City star was let off with only a £22,000 fine. Pretty lenient. In fairness, Demichelis was not directly involved with any of the games he bet on, but that's probably what warranted such mercy, much like our next guy. If you're going to bet as a footballer, you must make enough money to cover the exorbitant fines you'll face in the future, and we want to believe this former Stoke City striker did just that. Much like Demichelis, Jerome was found guilty of breaching FA betting rules, but taking a cue from the Manchester City defender, Jerome also didn't bet on games he could have any effect on. But unlike Demichelis, Jerome was fined £28,000 more than Demichelis. Why? Your guess is as good as ours. Another Newcastle player on the list? It must be something in the water. Now, Trippier's case is a little different because he didn't bet on any match, assault anyone, or do drugs. So, why was he fined and banned? In 2019, Trippier was nearing the end of his spell at Tottenham Hotspur, and like most big-time players, there was a lot of speculation about where the England international was going to land, and no one knew aside from Trippier and his agent and a bunch of people on his WhatsApp group of friends. Not bad, right? Who wouldn't spill the beans from excitement and anticipation? But things got out of hand when one of his friends won a huge amount of money from the information. An investigation was carried out and Trippier was exposed. He got banned for 10 games and was fined £70,000 for breaking FA rules. We doubt he'd be bothered about the fine though. Word is out that one of his friends made bank, so he's covered. You may know Kynan Isaac as a former Reading defender, or as the player who received a 12-year ban for breaching FA betting rules. Yup, you heard that right, 12 years! That's like a life sentence for a footballer. So, what did he do to suffer a punishment so cruel? Well, Isaac was burning to get a yellow card, so he had the brilliant idea to get one and help his friends double their money. While at Stratford, the English player told his friends to bet on him getting a yellow card, and he did, which led investigators to believe he deliberately got a yellow card. He'd have gotten a 10-year ban if he'd been more cooperative, but that's easier said than done. We wouldn't dream of leaving out Brentford's favoured striker Ivan Toney. In one of the most publicised court proceedings ever, Toney was found guilty of breaching FA betting rules. Unlike our last guy, Toney was extremely cooperative with investigators and admitted to breaching the rules 232 times in 4 years. Sheesh! The striker also confessed to suffering from a gambling addiction, which kept him away from the G-Tech Community Stadium for 8 months. His time away didn't affect his ruthlessness in front of goal, as he got on the scoring sheet on his first game back with the team. He looks unfazed by the event, and we hope to see more of him on the pitch doing what he does best. Everyone remembers Cantona as a master and legend of the beautiful game, but even legends have their ugly moments. Eric's own came in 1995 against Crystal Palace. After hearing racial slurs from a fan in the Crystal Palace crowd, Cantona lost his head and took the phrase "kick it out" a bit too literally. In his fit of rage, the celebrated striker kicked a Crystal Palace fan, Matthew Simmons, in the chest. He refused to apologise and had to be dragged away from the pitch. Eric received a 9-month ban and was even mandated to spend 2 weeks in prison. Luckily, the sentence changed to 120 hours of community service. What do you think of these actions and the resulting punishments? Fair or unjust? Let us know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss more content from this channel.